wind whispered through the ancient tombstones, carrying with it an eerie chill that seemed to seep into my bones. I stood at the entrance of the cemetery, hesitating to take the first step. The moon hung ominously in the midnight sky, casting a pale glow over the forgotten graves. This was no ordinary graveyard. It had a reputation that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. Curiosity had drawn me here, but as I ventured deeper into the cemetery, an unsettling sensation crawled up my spine. The air grew heavy with an indescribable presence, as if the spirits of the departed were watching, waiting for an unsuspecting visitor like me. My heart raced with trepidation, but the allure of the unknown kept me moving forward. As I walked among the weathered headstones, a thick fog slithered across the ground, obscuring my vision. Each step I took felt like a leap into the unknown, as though the very ground beneath me might give way, pulling me into a dark abyss. The air turned colder, and my breath hung in front of me like a ghostly apparition. I found myself drawn to a particular grave, standing alone in a desolate corner of the cemetery. The stone was cracked and weathered, its inscription barely legible. With a shiver, I read the name, Eleanor Blackwood, beloved daughter. Something about the grave exuded an unsettling energy, as if it held a secret waiting to be unearthed. A gust of wind blew through the cemetery, causing the trees to creak and moan. I glanced around, feeling a presence watching me from the shadows. But when I turned my gaze back to Eleanor Blackwood's grave, I froze. The mist had shifted, revealing the silhouette of a young girl standing beside the tombstone. My heart pounded in my chest as I stumbled back, struggling to comprehend the sight before me. The girl's eyes were empty, devoid of life, and her pale face held an expression of anguish. She reached out a spectral hand, beckoning me closer, her voice a mere whisper in the wind. "Help me," she pleaded, her voice echoing with desperation. "I'm trapped." "Release me from this eternal torment." Fear and empathy warred within me as I approached cautiously. The girl's presence was undeniably otherworldly, but her pain was palpable. As I extended my hand to touch hers, a surge of electricity coursed through me, causing me to recoil. The ground beneath my feet trembled, and a cacophony of unearthly cries and whispers echoed through the cemetery. Shadows writhed and contorted, forming ghastly figures that encircled us. The spirits of the restless dead, awakened by my attempt to free Eleanor Blackwood, sought to claim their own retribution. I fought against the suffocating grip of the spirits, desperately trying to break free. The girl's ghostly form flickered, her voice fading to a desperate plea. "Please don't leave me here alone. I can't bear it any longer." Summoning every ounce of courage, I closed my eyes and focused my energy. With a burst of determination, I pushed against the spectral onslaught, driving the malevolent entities back. The ground rumbled beneath me as the spirits dissipated into the night, their wails fading into the distance. When I opened my eyes, the cemetery was still once more. The mist lifted, revealing a serene and quiet resting place. But Eleanor Blackwood was nowhere to be seen. Had I freed her, or had the spirits merely retreated for a time? As I left the cemetery, a sense of relief washed over me. The weight of the encounter clung to my being, a reminder of the supernatural realm that existed beyond our understanding. The haunted cemetery had tested my courage, and though I had survived, the memory of that bone-chilling night would forever haunt my dreams, a constant reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desolate cemetery. I stepped cautiously between the crumbling tombstones, feeling a chill crawl up my spine. This was no ordinary graveyard. It held a dark secret that had plagued the town for generations. The tales whispered in hushed tones spoke of restless spirits and malevolent forces that lurked within its boundaries. Yet, fueled by morbid curiosity, I ventured deeper into the heart of the cemetery. The air grew stagnant as a fog slithered among the graves, obscuring my vision and distorting the moon's feeble glow. The silence was deafening, broken only by the crunch of leaves beneath my boots. As I approached a dilapidated mausoleum, a sense of foreboding settled over me like a shroud. Curiosity pushed me forward, and I slowly pushed open the rusted iron door, its hinges screaming in protest. The stale air assaulted my senses, carrying with it the scent of decay and forgotten soul. My heart pounded in my chest as I stepped into the dimly lit interior. The flickering candlelight revealed ornate coffins lining the walls, their surfaces coated in a thick layer of dust. The air grew colder, and I could almost hear whispers in the shadows. I resisted the urge to flee, my morbid fascination tethering me to this haunted place. Suddenly a whisper echoed through the chamber, slithering into my ears like a venomous serpent. "Leave Eve!" it hissed, the voice carrying a palpable malice that froze me in my tracks. The flame of the candle flickered wildly, casting eerie shadows that danced on the wall. Fear gnawed at my insides, but curiosity drove me deeper into the mausoleum. I traced my fingers along the etchings of an ancient coffin, tracing the name that had long been forgotten by the living. A sudden gust of wind extinguished the candle, plunging me into darkness. The whisper grew louder, closer, as if the malicious entity had materialized in the room with me. The air turned heavy, suffocating, and I struggled to draw a breath. Panic set in, and I fumbled for my flashlight, praying for its feeble beam to guide me to safety. As the light cut through the darkness, I gasped at the sight before me. The coffins that had once been sealed were now open, their contents absent. Panic surged through my veins as I realized that I was not alone in this accursed place. The spirits of the dead had been awakened by my intrusion, and they hungered for revenge. Whispers surrounded me, their voices overlapping and merging into a cacophony of torment. The darkness itself seemed to come alive, writhing and contorting into ghastly apparitions that encircled me. I could feel their icy touch, their spectral fingers grazing my skin, as if trying to pull me into their world of eternal suffering. In a desperate bid to escape, I stumbled back, my heart pounding against my ribcage. The spirits pursued me, their moans and shrieks echoing through the mausoleum. I tripped over an upturned stone and crashed to the ground, the impact jolting me out of my daze. Crawling on all fours, I scrambled towards the exit, my limbs heavy and uncoordinated. The spirit's grip tightened, their wails reverberating through my skull. With one final burst of adrenaline, I burst through the doors, gasping for air as I collapsed onto the ground. As I lay there, the silence of the cemetery washed over me, broken only by the sound of my frantic breathing. The spirits had retreated, their vengeance momentarily sated, but I knew that I had narrowly escaped their clutches. Forever scarred by the bone-chilling encounter, I stumbled away from the cemetery, never daring to look back. The memory of that night would forever haunt my dreams, a constant reminder of the sinister forces that lie beyond the veil of the living, and I would forever heed the warnings whispered in the dark. Never disturb the rest of the dead, for their rest of the dead, for their wrath is as bone-chilling as the eternal night. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the overgrown tombstones. I stood at the entrance of the cemetery, a shiver running down my spine as I took in the eerie silence that enveloped the place. This cemetery had a reputation that whispered tales of restless spirits and unexplained phenomena. With trepidation, I pushed the iron gate open and ventured into the realm of the dead. As I made my way through the winding pathways, a dense fog began to roll in, its tendrils curling around the gravestones like ghostly fingers. The air grew heavy with an otherworldly energy, making it difficult to breathe. Each step echoed in the silence, an ominous reminder of my intrusion into this sacred place. The mist grew thicker, obscuring my vision and distorting the shapes of the tombstone. Shadows danced on the periphery, their movements unnaturally fluid, like spectres caught in an eternal dance. A faint whisper carried on the breeze, sending a chill down my spine. I strained to listen, catching fragmented words that seemed to emanate from the very ground beneath me. A tombstone weathered and crumbling, caught my attention. The name etched into the stone was barely legible. Lucinda Hargrove, it read. Something about that name tugged at the fringes of my memory as if a ghostly voice was trying to make itself heard. I brushed my fingers over the inscription, a spark of energy tingling against my skin. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the cemetery, extinguishing the flickering candles on nearby graves. The once serene atmosphere transformed into a chilling symphony of whispered voices and distant moans. Panic gripped my heart, but I pressed on, driven by a morbid curiosity to unravel the mysteries of this haunted place. As I continued my journey, a soft glow caught my attention. It emanated from a dilapidated mausoleum nestled in a forgotten corner of the cemetery. A primal instinct urged me to turn away, to run from the horrors that surely awaited me within. But I couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. With each creaking step I approached the mausoleum, the glow intensifying with every breath I took. The door groaned as I pushed it open, revealing a room bathed in an eerie green light. The air inside was heavy and tinged with the scent of decay. I found myself standing in front of an open coffin, the contents hidden beneath a veil of darkness. An icy breeze caressed my face as I leaned in closer, my heart pounding in my ears. The darkness shifted, revealing a pair of luminous eyes that stared back at me, devoid of life. The figure rose from the coffin, its decaying flesh stretched tight against its bones. It moved towards me, its steps slow and deliberate, as if relishing the terror that emanated from me. My voice caught in my throat as I tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed by the oppressive silence of the mausoleum. "Lucinda," the figure rasped, its voice a haunting echo. "You have awakened me from my eternal slumber? Now you shall join me in the realm of the dead." With a surge of supernatural strength, the figure lunged at me, its skeletal fingers reaching out to claim me. I stumbled back, tripping over an overturned chair and crashing to the ground. In a desperate attempt to escape, I scrambled towards the exit, my heart racing with adrenaline. As I burst through the mausoleum doors, I stumbled into the moonlit graveyard. The figure of Lucinda Hargrove remained trapped within the confines of the tomb, her anguished screams echoing through the night. I ran, my feet pounding against the uneven ground, never looking back. I emerged from the cemetery, gasping for breath, my body trembling with a mixture of fear and relief. The memory of that bone-chilling encounter would forever haunt my nightmares, a constant reminder of the darkness that lies beyond the veil of the living. And as I returned to the safety of the world of the living, I vowed to never venture into the realm of the dead again, for the true horror that resides there can never be fully understood or escaped.